The pen doesn't even stop moving when my father says it. Effective immediately, you're no longer part of this company. My name is still glowing on the screen behind him, my projections, my strategy, while a security alert buzzes on my phone. Access revoked. Email locked. Banking permissions removed. My chair suddenly feels borrowed. My siblings stare at the table like it might swallow them whole. I feel heat crawl up my neck. My hands shake. This isn't a conversation. It's an execution. As I sit there, erased in my own boardroom, one thought pounds through my skull. My father cut me out of the business, while I was still sitting in the room. I built the client list he's protecting. I fixed the systems he's now claiming. I turned his failing construction company into something worth protecting. And with one sentence, he's acting like I never existed. My older brother Andrew won't look at me. My younger sister Claire examines her nails. Nobody speaks up. Nobody questions him. They just watch me die professionally, and I realize something crushing. They knew this was coming. I walk out past employees who won't meet my eyes. One whispers my name like it's already a rumor. The elevator doors close, and my knees nearly give out. I didn't cry in that room. But here, alone, mirrored walls closing in, I feel humiliation sink its teeth into me. I don't understand how this just happened. I don't understand how he could do this. My reflection stares back, looking like someone I don't recognize. My navy blazer suddenly feels like a costume I borrowed for a role I'm no longer playing. The elevator dings at each floor. People step in, chattering about lunch plans and weekend trips. Normal lives continuing while mine implodes. A woman glances at me, then away quickly. Can she see it? The shame radiating off me like heat. My phone buzzes again. Another access denied notification. Then another. He's not just firing me. He's systematically erasing me from every system, every database, every record that proves I mattered. The lobby doors slide open to cold February air. I step outside and realize I have nowhere to go. My name is Naomi Vale. And until 10 minutes ago, I was the person who kept that company alive. People see Vale Construction and think legacy, tradition, family empire. They don't see the truth. They don't see the near bankruptcy 5 years ago, the bounced paychecks, the creditors circling like sharks. They don't see me, 26 years old, negotiating payment plans at midnight while my father raged about disrespect and control. I wasn't just the daughter who worked there. I was the foundation holding up a crumbling building. But nobody knows that story. My father made sure of it. Every success got rebranded as his vision, his strategy, his leadership. Every crisis I fixed became a lesson he taught. I let him do it because I thought it didn't matter. I thought the work spoke for itself. I was wrong. The work spoke, but only in his voice. Now I'm standing on the sidewalk, watching people hurry past, and I feel untethered. Like a boat cut loose from its dock, drifting into open water. People assume I was handed everything. They don't know I joined when payroll bounced. They don't know I worked unpaid for months. They don't know I was the one who negotiated the loan that stopped foreclosure. I wasn't just family. I was infrastructure. I joined Vale Construction the summer after college, when my father's pride wouldn't let him admit things were falling apart. The office smelled like old coffee and desperation. Suppliers were demanding cash up front. Workers were threatening to walk. The bank had already sent 2 warning letters. Just temporary, my father kept saying. Just a rough patch. But I saw the numbers. I saw the contracts he'd signed without reading, the bids he'd underbid to win, the clients he'd angered with delays. I saw a man drowning who refused to admit the water was rising. So I dove in. I called every supplier and negotiated terms. I restructured the payment schedules. I found the accounting errors that were costing us thousands. I worked 16-hour days while my father complained that I didn't respect his experience. I saved his company. And he never forgave me for it. I remember my father saying, "One day, this will all be yours." I believed him. That was my first mistake. We were driving back from a site inspection, and the sunset was painting the sky orange and pink. He just landed the Riverside Mall contract, the biggest deal in company history. He was in a good mood, rare enough to feel like a gift. "You did good work on this proposal, Naomi," he said, eyes on the road. "Real good work. You've got instincts I didn't see coming." My chest swelled with pride. My father wasn't generous with compliments. "One day," he continued, "this will all be yours. You've earned it." I held those words like precious stones. I replayed them during the hard times, during the arguments, during the moments when he criticized my decisions in front of the team. I told myself he was just testing me, preparing me, making sure I was strong enough to lead. I built my entire future on that promise. But promises from proud men are just pretty words when their control is threatened. I started making decisions without asking. Fixing problems before they reached him. Earning trust he didn't control. I didn't realize independence looks like rebellion to insecure men. It started small. A supplier called with a pricing issue, and I resolved it instead of bothering my father. A client wanted a design change, and I approved it because it made sense. An employee needed time off, and I said yes because we could cover it. Each time, the problem got solved. The work continued. The business ran smoother. But each time, I saw my father's jaw tighten a little more. "You should have consulted me," he'd say. "It was simple," I'd reply. "I handled it." That's not the point. But what was the point? That he needed to be involved in every tiny decision? That his ego required constant feeding? I was trying to help him, trying to free up his time for bigger strategy, but he only saw a daughter who wouldn't stay in her place. Andrew noticed it first. "You're threatening him," he said one day. "I'm helping him," I corrected. "Same thing," Andrew muttered. "To Dad, at least." A week before I was fired, I overheard my name through a cracked door. "She's getting too confident. She thinks she owns this place." No one defended me. I'd stayed late to finish a safety report, and most of the office had cleared out. But voices drifted from the conference room, my father's deep rumble and Andrew's lighter tone. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I was just walking past. Then I heard my name. I froze, folder clutched against my chest. "Naomi's making decisions like she's running things," my father said, irritation sharp in every word. "She is running things," Andrew replied carefully. "She handles most of the operations now." Exactly. And clients are calling her first. Workers are going to her with problems. She's undermining my authority. A pause. I held my breath. "What do you want to do?" Andrew asked. "I want my company back." The words hit like a fist. I backed away from that door, legs shaking, and grabbed my coat. I left the report on my desk and went home. I stared at my ceiling all night, trying to convince myself I'd misunderstood. But I hadn't. By Monday, employees were told I'd chosen to step away. A supplier called me crying, asking why I abandoned them. That lie hurt worse than the firing. I got the call Tuesday morning. Lucia, who ran Morrison Lumber, was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. "Why didn't you tell me?" she kept asking. "I thought we were partners. I thought you cared about our deal." "Lucia, what are you talking about? Your dad said you quit. Said you wanted to pursue other opportunities. Said you felt the construction business wasn't for you anymore." My stomach dropped. "That's not. I defended you. I told him you'd never just leave like that. But he said you made your choice." I sat down hard on my couch. He wasn't just erasing me. He was rewriting the story, making me the villain who walked away. Making sure nobody would side with me. making sure every relationship I'd built would die with me gone. Lucia, I said quietly, I didn't quit. He fired me. Silence. Then, oh, Naomi. I sat at my parents' table like a guest. My siblings avoided me. My father discussed company challenges like I was invisible. I realized something then. I wasn't just fired. I was erased. Sunday dinner felt like sitting in a museum exhibit labeled The Life Before. My mother had made pot roast, my father's favorite. Claire talked about her nursing program. Andrew discussed a new equipment purchase. My father nodded along, offering opinions, steering conversations. I might as well have been wallpaper. When I tried to speak. How's the Riverside project going? My father talked over me, directing his answer to Andrew instead. When Claire asked me about my plans, what are you doing now? My father interrupted before I could answer. Naomi's figuring things out. Exploring options. My mother patted my hand but said nothing. She never challenged him. Not about this, not about anything. I excused myself early, claiming a headache. Nobody tried to stop me. Walking to my car, I understood. This wasn't just about the business. This was about power, control, family hierarchy. I'd committed the unforgivable sin, I'd become competent without permission. I didn't argue. Didn't threaten. Didn't post. Silence became my shield. They mistook it for weakness. My phone kept ringing, Andrew, Claire, even my mother, but I didn't answer. Friends texted asking what happened, having heard rumors. I kept my responses short, family stuff. I'm fine. I didn't blast my father on social media. Didn't send angry emails. Didn't call former clients to trash talk the company. I just stopped. Stopped reaching out. Stopped explaining. Stopped fighting for a place that didn't want me. My silence drove them crazy. Andrew left a voicemail, we need to talk. Dad's asking about you. Just call me back. Claire texted, everyone's worried. Please just tell us you're okay. But I wasn't okay. I was grieving. Grieving the family I thought I had, the father I thought I knew, the future I thought I'd built. And I needed to do that quietly, away from their chaos. They took my silence as surrender. They assumed I was too hurt to fight back. Too broken to matter anymore. They had no idea that silence was my strategy. Naomi, a man asked. This is from the bank. We need your authorization. I laughed, short, shocked, disbelieving. You should call my father, I said. There was a pause. You're still listed as required approval. The call came 3 weeks after I was fired. I was in my apartment, applying for jobs, trying to figure out what came next. The number was unknown, but I answered anyway. This is Frederick Bowen from Westside Commercial Bank. I'm calling about Vale Construction's expansion loan application. My breath caught. Expansion loan? My father hadn't mentioned anything about expansion before he fired me. I'm no longer with the company, I said carefully. Yes, we heard about your transition. However, according to the terms established in 2019, any loan exceeding $250,000 requires dual authorization. Your father's signature and yours. The room tilted. 2019, the restructuring year. The year I'd saved the company from foreclosure by negotiating new terms with 3 banks. The year I'd insisted on safeguards to prevent my father from taking on dangerous debt without oversight. I'd forgotten about that clause. Apparently, so had he. Years earlier, I'd negotiated a restructuring clause during a crisis. It required my sign-off to alter major credit terms. They never removed it. They never thought they'd need me. The memory came back in pieces. I was 27, exhausted, sitting across from a bank officer who was threatening to call our loans. My father had taken on too much debt chasing projects we couldn't finish. We were drowning. We need guarantees, the officer said. Ways to ensure better financial decision-making. My father wanted to argue, but I cut him off. What if we require dual authorization? 2 signatures on any major loans or credit changes. That way you know decisions are being vetted by multiple parties. The officer nodded. That could work. Who would the second authorization be? I didn't hesitate. Me. My father glared but didn't object. He needed that restructuring too badly. So we signed. The company got its lifeline. And buried in the paperwork was a clause that gave me permanent veto power over major financial decisions. I'd done it to protect the business. Now it was protecting me. My siblings suddenly remembered my number. Can we talk? There's been a misunderstanding. Dad didn't mean it like that. I didn't reply. Andrew called 4 times in one day. I watched the phone light up and go dark, light up and go dark. Finally, he left a voicemail. Look, we need you to sign some paperwork. It's just administrative stuff. The bank's being difficult about an old requirement. Can you just come in and handle it? It'll take 5 minutes. Just administrative stuff. 5 minutes. They thought I was stupid. Claire tried next, her voice syrupy sweet. Naomi, please. This is getting ridiculous. Dad's stressed enough without you making things harder. Can't you just help us out? Then my mother. Honey, I don't understand what's happening, but your father needs you to sign something for the bank. Can you please just do this? For the family? For the family. The family that fired me. The family that lied about me. The family that erased me like I never mattered. I blocked their numbers and made coffee. My father called. Casual. Forced. Asked how I was. Didn't apologize. Asked for help. He used my mother's phone, probably figuring I hadn't blocked her yet. I answered without checking the caller ID. Naomi. His voice had that controlled calm he used when trying not to yell. Dad. How are you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. Like he cared. Like he hadn't orchestrated my public humiliation. I'm fine. A long pause. I could hear him breathing, gathering patience. Listen, there's a small issue with the bank. Just a technicality from years ago. They need your signature on an expansion loan. Standard stuff. Can you come by the office tomorrow? No. Another pause. Longer. Tighter. Naomi, don't be childish. This is business. You made it personal when you fired me in front of everyone. That was a difficult decision. But we needed to restructure. You needed to feel in control. His voice hardened. I don't have time for your emotions right now. The bank needs this signature by Friday. Will you do it or not? No. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but my voice had been steady. They wanted me back, temporarily. Just long enough to sign. I agreed to meet. Not to return. My father's lawyer called next. Professional, polite, completely missing the point. Ms. Vale, we'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss the bank authorization matter. We believe there's been some miscommunication, and we'd like to clarify expectations. Miscommunication. That's what they were calling it. I'll meet, I said. But not at the office. Neutral location. We settled on a conference room at the lawyer's firm. Neutral ground. No home advantage for my father. I spent 2 days preparing. I pulled out all my old files, every contract I'd negotiated, every crisis I'd resolved. I reviewed the restructuring terms, the bank agreements, the safeguards I'd built in. I knew my leverage. I knew my worth. Most importantly, I knew what I wanted. And it wasn't just a signature on a piece of paper. When I walked into that conference room, I wasn't the scared daughter who'd been fired. I was the woman who'd saved this company once before. And I was done saving people who didn't appreciate it. We sat across from each other in a neutral office. No power. No titles. He tried to command the room. I let him finish. Then I said no. My father arrived with Andrew and the lawyer, a thin man named Porter who looked uncomfortable. I came alone, which seemed to surprise them. "Where's your representation?" Porter asked. "I don't need any. This is simple." My father leaned back, assuming control. "Let's make this quick. The bank needs your authorization on a $300,000 expansion loan. The paperwork's ready. You sign, we move forward, everyone's happy." "What's the expansion for?" I asked. "New equipment. Project scaling. None of your concern anymore. It became my concern when you needed my signature." His jaw tightened. "Are you going to sign or not?" I folded my hands on the table. Steady. Calm. "No." Andrew leaned forward. "Naomi, be reasonable." "I am being reasonable. You fired me. You lied about me. You erased me from the company I saved. Now you want my help?" "No." My father's face reddened. "You're being spiteful. This is about the business, not your hurt feelings." "You're right. It is about the business. And I'm protecting it from your terrible decisions." He called me ungrateful. Said I was destroying the family. I stayed calm. "You already destroyed it," I said quietly. My father exploded. "Ungrateful doesn't even cover it. I gave you everything. I brought you into the business, taught you everything you know, and this is how you repay me? You gave me nothing. I earned everything. You earned it because I allowed you to. This is my company. My name on the building. My legacy. Your legacy that was bankrupt before I fixed it." He stood up, chair scraping. "You're killing this family. You're destroying everything because you can't handle not being in charge." Something in me snapped. Not into anger, into clarity. "No," I said, voice steady and cold. "You already destroyed it. You destroyed it when you chose pride over partnership. When you erased my contributions because they threatened you. When you fired me to protect your ego. That's not. I saved your company. I saved your reputation. I saved your contracts. And you repaid me with humiliation. So no, I'm not signing anything. You want expansion? Figure it out yourself. Like you should have been doing all along." I stood, grabbed my bag, and walked out. The bank froze expansion funds. Suppliers tightened credit. Employees sensed blood in the water. The company started shrinking. Word spreads fast in the construction world. Within days, everyone knew Vale Construction had been denied their expansion loan. Questions started circulating. Why? What's wrong? Are they in trouble? Suppliers who'd extended credit started demanding faster payment. A few switched to cash-only terms. Projects got delayed waiting for materials. Workers started whispering about instability, wondering if their paychecks were safe. I heard all this through Lucia, who still called me weekly. "Your father's scrambling," she said. "He's trying to renegotiate terms with everyone, but people are nervous. The Riverside Mall project's behind schedule. There's talk of penalties." I felt a strange emptiness. No satisfaction, no vindication. Just watching something inevitable unfold. "How's he handling it?" I asked. "Badly. He's blaming everyone but himself. Claims it's the bank being unreasonable, suppliers being greedy, workers being lazy. Won't admit the real problem. Which is? He needs you. And he's too proud to admit it. I opened my own firm. Small. Ethical. Mine. Clients followed. Vendors trusted me. I slept again. I registered the business on a Tuesday, Vale Consulting, specializing in construction management and financial restructuring. Small office, minimal overhead, just me and a laptop. I sent emails to former clients, explaining my new venture. Simple, professional, no drama. The response shocked me. Within a week, 3 companies hired me. 2 were former Vale Construction clients who'd worked with me directly. They trusted me, not the company name. 1 was a competitor who'd heard about my work and wanted my expertise. Lucia started referring me to other suppliers. You helped us navigate that payment crisis, she told people. She's solid. My days filled with actual work. Solving problems, building systems, helping companies avoid the mistakes my father kept making. No office politics. No ego management. Just clean, honest work. And for the first time in years, I slept through the night. No anxiety dreams about missed deadlines or angry confrontations. Just peace. I was building something new. Something that belonged only to me. My father aged in months. Control slipping. Authority questioned. The thing he feared most was happening. Without me lifting a finger. I saw him from a distance at an industry event. I almost didn't recognize him. He'd lost weight. His shoulders slumped. The confident swagger that used to fill rooms had dimmed to something uncertain, almost fragile. He was talking to a potential client, and I could see the desperation in his gestures. The client looked skeptical, arms crossed. Whatever pitch my father was making wasn't landing. Andrew stood beside him, looking exhausted. Claire had stopped coming to family dinners, according to my mother. The stress was fracturing them the way it fractured me. But here's the thing, I wasn't causing it. I was just refusing to prevent it. My father had built his empire on control, controlling money, controlling decisions, controlling people. And the moment that control slipped, everything collapsed. Not because I was sabotaging him. Because the foundation was never solid to begin with. I'd been the one holding it together. Now I wasn't. And gravity was doing the rest. He showed up unannounced. No anger left. Just exhaustion. Please, he said. I was working from home when my doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, my father stood there looking smaller than I remembered. Can I come in? I stepped aside. He entered slowly, taking in my small apartment, my makeshift office setup. He'd never been here before. Never cared where I lived. How have you been? He asked. Fine. We sat in my living room, an awkward silence stretching between us. He looked at his hands. The business is struggling, he finally said. I heard. We need that expansion loan. We need to finish the Riverside project. We need. He trailed off. You need me. He nodded. Barely. Please, Naomi. I know I handled things wrong. I know I hurt you. But this is bigger than us. This is about jobs, families, people who depend on the company. For a moment, I almost caved. Almost let guilt pull me back. Then I remembered the boardroom. The erased access. The lies. Tell me why you fired me. I told him everything. The pain. The betrayal. The silence that saved me. He listened. Too late. My father looked uncomfortable, like he wanted to leave but couldn't. Tell me, I repeated. Why did you fire me? He was quiet for a long time. Then, you were taking over. I was helping. You were replacing me. Clients called you first. Workers came to you with problems. I was becoming irrelevant in my own company. So you cut me out. I panicked. I thought if I removed you, things would go back to how they were. When I was in charge. When people respected my authority. I leaned back. And how's that working? He closed his eyes. It's not. I told him everything then. How his firing broke something in me. How the lies to suppliers and employees made me feel erased. How family dinners where I was invisible cut deeper than any boardroom humiliation. How I'd built my entire future around his promise, only to watch him crush it because his ego couldn't handle my competence. He listened, face drawn, hands trembling slightly. When I finished, he said, "I'm sorry." But sorry wasn't enough. Not anymore. I refused. Not with spite. With clarity. I chose myself. I can't help you, I said quietly. Can't or won't? Both. I can't save you from your own decisions. And I won't sacrifice myself to do it. What about the workers? What about their families? That's your responsibility. You wanted control? This is what control looks like. Own it. He stood, anger flashing briefly before exhaustion smothered it. You're really going to let the company fail? I'm not letting anything happen. I'm just not fixing your mistakes anymore. There's a difference. Is this about revenge? No. It's about self-preservation. You taught me the company comes first, remember? Well, now I'm the company. My company. And I'm putting it first. He walked to the door, paused. I don't know if I can forgive this. I stopped needing your forgiveness when you fired me. He left. The door closed. And I felt nothing but calm certainty that I'd made the right choice. The business restructured without me, and failed. Control fractured. The family turned on itself. They lost everything trying to control one person. Vale Construction filed for bankruptcy protection 6 months later. The Riverside project got sold to a competitor. Equipment got liquidated. The office closed. Employees scattered to other companies. Andrew tried to salvage something, but without capital or credit, there was nothing to save. My father retreated completely, broken and bitter. The family splintered. Claire stopped speaking to my father. Andrew moved across the country. My parents sold their house. The empire built on pride and control collapsed under its own weight. People asked me if I felt guilty. I didn't. I felt free. They'd had a choice. They could have valued partnership over dominance. They could have chosen collaboration over control. They could have apologized and meant it. Instead, they chose pride. And pride is expensive. I didn't destroy Vale Construction. I just stopped being the foundation that held up a broken structure. When I stepped away, it fell. That wasn't my failure. It was theirs. I didn't destroy them. I simply stopped saving them. Today, I run a company built on respect. I have peace they'll never buy. And the bank? They still call me first. Vale Consulting grew quietly but steadily. I hired carefully, people who valued competence over hierarchy, collaboration over control. We specialized in rescuing struggling construction firms, teaching them the financial discipline my father never learned. Ironically, we became known for the exact work I used to do at Vale Construction. Clients praised our ethics, our transparency, our results. We weren't the biggest firm, but we were respected. Last month, Westside Commercial Bank called. We have a construction company that needs financial restructuring, Frederick Bowen said. They're drowning in debt, making poor decisions. We think you're the right person to help. What's the company? I asked. He paused. It's complicated. It's Vale Construction. Your father's company. I sat with that for a moment. The universe has a sense of humor. I'll send someone from my team, I said. But I won't be personally involved. Understood. I hung up and looked out my office window at the city below. Somewhere out there, my father was learning the hardest lesson: control is an illusion. The only thing you truly control is how you treat people. He'd chosen poorly. And now he was living with that choice. Meanwhile, I was building something better. Something sustainable. Something mine. And that signature he needed so desperately? He never got it. But I didn't need his approval anymore either. If you enjoy the story, subscribe, like and share.